Gamecast from MSN.
Hi and welcome to another Gamecast. We're here with Nick Taylor, my co-editor on Tech and Gadgets.
Hello.
And Iain Lee, your host.
Hello.
And I'm Jane Douglas, I'm another editor on Tech and Gadgets. And for anyone who wants to talk about the podcast after you've listened, come over to tech.uk.msn.com and join us on the message boards. Okay, over to you, Iain.
Well, very quickly, let's do how we generally always start it. What have we been playing this month? Jane, have you had much time?
Yes, I played Force Unleashed.
Oh, okay. Any good?
1.5 times. I really enjoyed it, but I think I'm in a bit of a minority. Everyone was really everyone seemed to be really disappointed with it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Nick?
It was good fun.
I've been playing Resident Evil 4, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Back to that on the Wii, yeah.
Getting ready for 5 when it eventually comes out.
Yeah, getting excited about that.
Does it stand the test of time? Is it still looking good?
It does. It's ace. Yeah. It's especially in the castle bit where I'm going through at the moment.
Yeah.
And just really starts.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
I remember that coming out. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been playing GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I've sneakily, when my girlfriend wasn't in, I set up the N64 in the bedroom. I've been playing GoldenEye in bed all month. It's just the best thing. And it's a brilliant game. The graphics are a little bit not quite as good as I remember, but fantastic. And I'll tell you what's so good about it. The levels, they're about 10 minutes long each. Mm-hmm. So there's no playing for hours and hours and hours and getting bogged down with it. You can have a nice little 10-minute session, leave it, come back to it, whatever. It's fantastic. Anyway, Jane, you've done work and stuff this month. You've got us loads of trailers of some of the big titles that are coming out.
Yeah.
Should we go through them? We'll talk about what we've seen. I'm guessing you may have played some of these as well.
A couple of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so first we were looking at Dead Space.
Dead Space.
Yeah. That's out October 24th, like nearly everything this month.
Yeah, everything's coming out on October 24th. PC, PS3, Xbox 360. So you're in space and you're killing things. That's the basic premise of it, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. Resident Evil in space, apparently.
And that phrase alone, Nick, has got you very, very excited.
It has, yeah. Well, like so, I've gone back to Resi this month, and what a great concept.
It's got some good innovations. The fact that there's no on-screen bits
no
and
interface
pieces.
at all.
Interface
Yeah.
is the word I was trying to think of. I said of bits and pieces. So, for example, his health is shown in his illuminated spine,
health bar thing,
and he presses things on his watch and bits and pieces.
Yeah,
come up like
holographic
that.
kind of interface display things.
The trailer was excellent, but what I've noticed with trailers for films and games is they take the best bits and put them on. They never show you the rubbish bits. I kind of felt like I'd seen it before and played it before, and
I think it's, although they're selling it on being innovative, I think it's a bit of a kind of solid genre game. You know, it's a sci-fi. Well, okay, so we haven't seen a lot of sci-fi survival horrors, but as a sci-fi game and as a survival horror, it does a lot of the stuff you're used to. But hopefully it'll do it well, you know. I
just felt the trailer that we saw and the little film that we saw, it didn't. It looked similar to other things I'd seen before and played before, but the variety that we saw in the levels didn't seem to be that much variety. It looks very dark and very mysterious, and there's things scuttling about in the dark, and I'd imagine that's what you get for your 10 hours, 12 hours, however long you play it for.
That's the problem with setting something in space or like in a deserted space station, isn't it? Is that everywhere looks a bit dark and a bit dingy. It's something that people said about the first Gears of War was that it just looked really murky.
Which I didn't play this month, as I've not done a lot of my homework. I did say I played Gears of War. I've been like busy and stuff, and it, but
you haven't. You've been playing GoldenEye instead.
You're right, busted. I will go home after recording this podcast, and I will play Gears of War.
Good.
But yes, it does look a bit.
So it's I think it might have that sort of thing said about it. That well, from the look of the trailer anyway, that everywhere looks a bit the same and a bit dark and dingy.
Yeah, I hope it's not the case. I mean, one of the designers I think said that they're trying not to give it all away with the trailers, so maybe there'll be stuff we haven't seen yet. But
cool.
I don't know.
Okay, now Little Big Planet. I got to be honest. A lot of these games, apart from Gears of War 2 and maybe a couple of others, I hadn't even heard of. Have I been asleep or something and missed? Has there been a big fanfare about Little Big Planet on the PS3?
Little Big Planet is something the PS3 owners are hugely excited about.
Okay,
yeah.
See, I'm an owner, but I'm not a user. That's my problem. Apparently, I'm an Xbox fanboy. So this has been talked about for a while, has it?
Yeah, it's been really promoted as the saviour of PS3 because it's going to be this incredibly innovative game when it comes out, because it's on the face of it just a fairly standard platformer, but you can design your own levels and then pitch them out online. And
You were saying, Jane, when we
download
were
them.
looking at that's the big thing is that
The
you make
hook
your
is
own
the
levels,
social
and
kind of
then
game,
everyone
so-
shares
Yeah.
their levels.
Yeah.
But-
And it looks cute.
But can people? It does look brilliant. It
does
looks
look
like an
good.
episode of The Clangers.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Clangers, the computer game. It looks incredible. I've not seen anything like that before. But can people really be bothered with level editors? It's quite an effort to. I mean, I don't know. This may be very simple and maybe easy to do. I don't know, but it's. I'd imagine it's quite a big time commitment to sit down and build a level. And while it may be fun once or twice, you're really going to keep going back.
Well, I
and
guess
doing that?
if you don't want to design the levels, you can play the levels. And also the level editor is not like the level editors you get for, I don't know, PC games or whatever. It's really like part of the game.
Okay.
So it's live and you're, dropping bits down here and there and
It did look good, and as you know, I have a PS3 gathering dust. It never gets used, but I did think I wouldn't mind having a go on that. Actually, I could possibly dig out the PS3 and find the controllers somewhere and have some of that. Nick, you're a man.
Yep, that's true.
Did this game excite you in any way? Because you're a big man.
Little Big Planet. Well, to be honest, when I first heard about it, I thought not really that interested in that. But the more I hear about it,
Yeah.
the more intriguing it sounds. I quite like with the level creation, like the way they come down to you have this planet up in the sky, the Little Big Planet, and it sort of it beams levels down towards you, and you can pick them out depending on
See, that's got me excited.
their rating, like sort of other people that have played them. So it's got this whole social networking side attached to it, as I understand it. So that when your levels go out there, they then take on their own life.
And am I right in thinking it looks like an old-fashioned 2D side-scrolling platformer,
much.
Yeah,
but
gone
rendered in
3D.
3D?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
fantastic. I'm all up for that. Fable 2, Xbox 360 again, October the 24th.
yes.
Can we be bothered, really?
I will play it. I played the first one. I completed the first one, so I kind of owe it to myself to.
I think
to
I
play
played
Fable 2.
I those games frustrate me where you walk into a town and then you go into the bar and you go up and you press the A button to talk to someone and the lady says, "Oh no, don't talk to me, I'm busy." Why don't you go and talk to that person over there? You go and talk to them. "Oh no, just tell me what to do and where to do it, please." For goodness sakes. But you're a fan of these kind of things,
I
aren't you,
guess,
Jane?
yeah. It might do well. I don't know. Fable 1 was a little bit cutesy, I think. It had like these kind of quaint English accents and
This looked a little bit darker. in
yeah,
the
it is a bit
trailer.
darker. There's a kind of bigger emphasis on being good or being evil, and that affects how your character looks. If you go totally evil, then you get glowing red eyes, but there's more choices where you can customize your character. It's male or female. And the first time around, it was just a guy, and I don't know. I kind of like that stuff, so we'll see.
Nick, there wasn't you? I could sort of feel you dozing off as we were watching.
Fable,
film.
I don't know. Basically, it's a game. If you get into Fable 2, it's going to take up weeks of your life because it's huge. And there's a lot of games like that coming out this autumn or this winter. And I don't know. For me, I'm just going to have to pick one because I haven't got weeks and weeks to devote
I
to
read
all
a
of them.
brilliant article. I think it was in last month's Edge magazine. I can't remember the name of the guy that wrote it, but he was saying that basically he's bored of games that you have to devote hours and hours
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
He likes games where you can pick up and play.
Yeah.
He was playing a lot of Space Invaders Extreme, I think, is that on the DS, I think? Where you can pick it up, you can play it for 10 minutes, you can put it back down. And he
Yeah.
said that I wish I could remember the guy's name.
I know who you mean, and he was saying it's like a whole experience.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're playing one of these games, it's just a fragment.
Yeah, exactly. And
of a game.
you've got to dedicate 2 hours to it. You've got to sit down and say, right, I'm going to spend 2 hours playing this now. When there's, I like a good bit of pick up and play. I'm just going back to GoldenEye. The level's 10 minutes long. That's it. Maybe you spend half an hour trying to find it, but you can play it. You can put it down and come back to it, and that's fantastic. And these big games that are completely immersive. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. Maybe it's for the kids. Now, a game that looked very exciting to me. Fallout 3, PC, PS3, Xbox 360. I'm saying this as though I know this. Jane, you've typed up excellent notes, so thank you very much. You've
You're
made me
welcome.
sound informative. And this is coming out on October the 31st. This looked brilliant. Was it set in the 50s? Nuclear war?
Yeah.
You're wandering around the remains.
It's set in a 50s kind of landscape. It's not actually the 50s. That was when the nuclear war was.
Okay.
This is about 2 centuries later on.
Oh, I see. Already it gets even more exciting.
Yeah, it looks ace. I was actually playing it yesterday at a preview,
Yeah.
and you're in this vault at the beginning, and that's where you've grown up. You're like a 19-year-old kid, and you wake up and your dad's gone out, and that's the whole premise of the game. No one ever goes out of the vault. Your dad's disappeared. He's gone out, so
Yeah.
you go out of the vault for the first time. You have to go find him, And it looks beautiful. You come out and this vault door opens and you come out onto this hillside and there's a ravaged Washington DC in front of you that just looks stunning, and you can go anywhere. Like everything you can see you can walk to. It looks really cool, and it plays nicely. It's obviously Bethesda Oblivion, so it feels similar to Oblivion.
Downside, you were saying there's no online multiplayer action.
No,
which
there's none of that.
Seems ridiculous. In what year are we? 2008, isn't it?
Yes,
yes.
it is.
That in this far into the 21st century, they're releasing games that haven't got online multiplayer. It can't be that difficult to kind of weld it on to the side, can it?
But you wouldn't want a tacked on multiplayer, would you? You'd want it to be a decent multiplayer.
I keep going back to it. I thought the Grand Theft Auto 4 multiplayer was nothing special. But they just, let's make it multiplayer, and that didn't really work. It looked so good. It looked perfect for running around Washington shooting each other.
Yeah.
And that's I feel that's missing.
I think the thing is, though, the game area is so huge.
Yeah.
It would suffer from the same problem GTA did, where how do you transform that to a multiplayer experience? Because people could just leg it off to the other side of the city and you wouldn't find them.
Cowards would do it. Men would stand there and fight, wouldn't they? Surely.
But it's just too big, and
Oh, bless you.
Unless you've got thousands and thousands of players in there, which they can't handle. You can only have 8 people at a time.
That day will come. The day will come when you have thousands and thousands of online multiplayers.
Now that I will sign up for.
Oh, definitely. Just running around.
There are games like that. They're called MMOs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But
that's not when you're casting spells, though. I want to be sitting on my Xbox 360 and I want to be able to shoot people.
Right.
Speaking of sitting on the Xbox 360 and shooting people, Gears of War 2, November the 7th. Has that been put back? I thought that was coming out earlier than that. Is that...
No, that's not changed.
Has that always been the thing?
That's the same.
Okay, and what do we know about it? I didn't play Gears of War this month, as I promised I would do. Shame on me, I shall be playing it this afternoon. More of the same, I suppose, is it really?
More of the same, but bigger, more epic.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm selling it, but having played it a little bit, it's really good. And if you like Gears, you'll like Gears 2. It's going to be just immense, like sort of huge things to fight against. Now
you can't see this, Dylan, but Nick is pulling kind of faces of enjoyment and satisfaction and waving his arms around, which is good. It's good.
I get a bit Gears fanboy when I start talking about it.
Oh no, you're shame on PS3 owners for they won't be able to play it. There's no sniff of it coming out on the PS3.
No chance. No.
Never.
It's a Microsoft game. So,
that'll learn you. Got to be careful because that will be the forum saying, they love
You've just set the forum topic for next month.
It's MSN, so that
But they get Little Big Planet, and they get Resistance 2 as well, which is coming out soon. That's
Okay. Do we know when that's coming out? Is there a date for that?
It's not before Christmas.
Before Christmas, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Tom Clancy's End War, PS3, Xbox 360, November the 7th. I'd heard nothing of this. I was unaware of its existence. It looks brilliant, doesn't it? From the film, it looked like a kind of cross between Risk, the old-fashioned board game where you try and take over the world, and a souped-up version of Advance Wars that we were reminiscing around on the DS, which is a fantastic turn-based strategy war game. And it looks kind of like that, but to the power of 1,000,000 or something. Am I right in...
Yeah, it looked amazing. I mean, it's set in the future, I believe. And so it's like the war to end all wars. I assume that's where the title comes from. Looks really cool. And I think been under-publicised a bit. I hadn't heard that much about it.
But won awards already for Best Strategy Game at E3 or something like that.
Exactly.
I mean, you can never really judge a game by its graphics. You should never do that. But they were amazing. It looks
beautiful.
Stunning. The turn-based war game, that kind of has got me...
I'm not sure it's turn-based. It's
not?
definitely
It
a
looks
strategy
like
game,
it.
but
Okay.
It may be.
No,
sure.
we don't know.
We'll
Well, if you know, then put it on the forum and give us the inside information. But either way, it made me feel a little bit sexy inside, looking at it.
And anything you put Tom Clancy's name in front of, bizarrely, in the game world is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like sort of Rainbow Six. And
So I think, is there a dud Tom Clancy assigned game? I don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
Not really.
Mm-mm.
So then, there you go. It's going to be good. Tom Clancy's got it.
Jane, do you want to do the next one?
Oh, it's World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King. Expansion comes out November 13. No one cares about it except me, apparently.
we let her do
in
this on our own?
room.
Yeah, go on.
All right, you go, get coffee.
In fairness, we know nothing about, or I know nothing about World of Warcraft.
No,
And,
well, you should know it's very, very exciting. And and I may be getting back into World of Warcraft just for the expansion. I've stopped playing for
You
a
were
while
talking to
now.
Nick as we were watching the film. I didn't want to interrupt, but did you have a bit of a problem with World of Warcraft? Did it dominate the life?
My slash played, which is a record of how long you've played, is several days, and that's several days real time.
Wow.
So 24 hours times however many. So
Wow.
yeah, I think that's fair to say. I did have a problem at some point, but I'm free and clear for several months now.
Congratulations! There are groups that you can go and talk about this and share and meet. But so this is an expansion pack. You get the big gimmick here, saying you can ride dragons.
Well, there's been flying mounts before. There are dragons, and there's a load of kind of story, like lore. And I think the Warcraft fans like the lore. I do. And so it's kind of a progression of the main story arc, in a way that the last expansion pack wasn't. You
were saying, Nick, that you would like to see more dragon-based
Absolutely.
flying games.
Absolutely.
Panzer Dragoon. Now we were arguing. Is it a dragon you're on there? I can't remember if it's a dragon or if. I think I said that it was a machine that had wings, but I think I'm thinking of was it Cycle Prop or something? Do you remember that?
Oh my word!
No
Remember
idea.
That? There's a game in the arcade where was it Cycle Prop or something where you had to pedal, like properly pedal, and you flew this thing and you had to fly it through hoops. I think I'm confusing the two.
Yeah, that sounds a bit like Pilot Wings as well.
Maybe I think of Pilot Wings. No, I'm sure they were called Cycle Prop or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
It vaguely rings a bell.
Okay, if you know of any the dragon-based flying games that Nick can get his hands on, then
He needs to know.
Then mention it on the forum, please.
Please do.
Okay, Mirror's Edge, PC, PS3, Xbox 360, November the 14th.
I like this. Looks good, but you said it made you feel sick.
Yeah, those first person, isn't
First
it?
person
Yes,
free running.
I always get
Yeah.
first person free running makes me feel nauseous. I get seasick. It reminded me of Half-Life a lot in the terms of the graphics and the whole kind of the atmosphere. It looked brilliant, don't get me wrong. It's just because I'm a lightweight and I get seasick very easily. But as a game, it looked very good. A little bit confusing, the level we saw. Lots of running and
A
jumping.
little bit monotonous, the level design, but I don't know how representative that is. So
Yes, it was lots of running along, jumping, climbing up, running along, jumping, climbing up. That seemed to be the basic premise. I don't know anything about the story or...
future dystopia city, and she's a free runner carrying messages
she's
for the
actually
criminal
a free
underworld.
runner.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Is this the first free running genre game?
I think it is. It must be.
Yeah, I've vaguely
First-
heard of one being around before that was rubbish or something.
Yeah.
But this is the first one.
Because I did notice she did a thing where she kind of ran up the wall and bounced off, pushed herself off it, and then climbed up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it's got free running in it. I'm not.
I'm a bit concerned if I do get it though. Did you notice when she's running? Because she's running, she does a lot of panting the whole time.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy breathing.
Steady. Where's this
going?
going, Nick? What
What are my neighbours going to think if I'm playing that? Really, and there's just heavy breathing coming through the walls all night.
Why have you lowered the tone? We managed to go. What is this, like 4, 5, 6 episodes we've done of this without getting anywhere mucky, and you've lowered the tone.
Yeah, I think it's a valid thing.
I'm going to raise.
Question.
I'm going to raise the tone. So your neighbours don't mind loads of games where there's people screaming and getting shot and stuff like that. But you're worried because there's a bit of sexual panting going on. I'm going to raise the tone by talking about what looks like a lot of fun. Wii music coming out on the Wii on November the 14th. I couldn't make head and a tail of this. You're playing instruments, so it's like guitar, rock band, and Guitar Heroes and all of that, but without the exciting rock tunes or the guitar interface. Really, you're playing old Nintendo Mario songs.
Amongst other things.
On a
Nintendo's
variety of
themed.
instruments.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
going
the
to leave
gimmick,
this one
is
to
it?
Jane because it makes me a bit grumpy.
I've seen it. Oh.
You got really angry.
I did.
I did get quite angry at how disgusted he was with this game.
Yeah, resentment, Nintendo resentment. It's kind of does what you describe. You play anything you like. I think it's like sitars and pianos.
Can you play? How do you play the piano? I can
Drums,
understand,
whatever.
I can understand the sitar and the guitar because you do something. You hold your arms in a guitar place. The drums you can bash the chuck and the stick around. But how would you play? What instrument did you just say? My mind just got excited at the
I
thought
said
of actually
piano.
playing drums.
I hope I'm right.
I'm miming. Yes, the piano. How would you do that?
I'm not
on
sure.
there?
Maybe there's not. No, there was a piano, wasn't there, in the trailer?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how that one works with the Wiimote, with limited number of buttons and motion sensitivity.
I saw the tambourine. The tambourine, that would be
obviously,
good for 5
yes.
minutes. I'm hoping there's a trumpet. Because you don't
yes.
do
yeah.
trumpet.
Yeah.
I'm miming all these. No one, obviously, people listening to this can't
No.
see me, but I'm getting throwing
He is
myself into
miming.
it. In fact, if there's a trumpet and there are drums and there's a sitar, actually, I think it doesn't sound that bad, to be honest.
Yeah, but do you remember all the tunes that are in it? I mean, what's the point of playing along to these random Nintendo
Like Yankee
songs?
Doodle Dandy.
Yeah, the tunes were
the
a little
Mario
bit. I
theme.
doubt
Yeah.
there'll be any Aerosmith downloads or anything like that, which is disappointing. Okay, and there are games that have come out recently. Okay, the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. I did want to talk about this because this is the kind of the big game at the moment. It came out a week ago when we recorded this. Who knows from when you're listening to this? Is it actually any good? I've not played it. A friend of mine did, and said, and he's a big Star Wars fan. Anything that's got the S and the W on the front of the box, he instantly puts on rose-tinted glasses and says it's fantastic. But he said he was a bit disappointed with it. It was a bit monotonous. There was no real progression, and just didn't really capture. He said it looked great, looked fantastic, but didn't really. After an hour, didn't really go anywhere. It was the same game. Have either of you played it? Heard anything?
Yeah, I think disappointment has been sort of the watchword.
Right.
Not me personally. I had a really good time with it. I accept that it is perhaps a bit monotonous, but you're doing things that you enjoy over and over again.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. You know, it's never going to get old. Like, you know, throwing stormtroopers off ledges and you know, electrocuting stuff. So I mean, I had a good time with it. It has a good plot. It looks really nice. Perhaps didn't push the envelope particularly, despite the immense amount of technology it's got in there.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably one of the most expensive games ever made, if not the most expensive game ever made. And for that, it's quite formulaic.
Get me. I want a figure. I want to know how much that game costs to make.
I'll
Let's
look it up.
find out for us. That's
But
wow.
I don't know. I had a good time with it, from personally speaking.
Okay, well, again, let us know if you're listening to this and you
Yeah.
enjoyed it or you hated it or let us know on the forum. Wipeout HD PS3 download.
There we go. There's another PS3 exclusive.
It's starting to get a little bit tempting now to think maybe. Did I mention that I had the Red Ring of Death, by the way?
No.
I had the Red Ring of Death. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Very disappointing. So that made my PS3 look a little bit more appealing.
Is it back in action?
Well, it is back in action. Am I allowed to say how I fixed it, or not?
Go ahead.
I used the towel method.
The towel. Explain.
Well, don't. It's very naughty. It's very, very naughty, and I would not recommend it. Because I know Xbox are very, very good at. Because a friend of mine had it, and you get in touch, you send it off to them. 2 or 3 weeks later, you get it back, and it's fixed, and it's fantastic. And Xbox are fantastic at doing that. But I was playing Mercenaries. This was it. I wanted to play Mercenaries, and do you know what? I wish I hadn't fixed my Xbox because it was the biggest load of cack I've ever touched in my life. The first one, awful game. But and it just died on me, and so I was looking on the internet. There's got to be some way, and there's all these methods of you take it apart, and I thought I'm not doing that. So the towel method, I'm not recommending it because I'm sure it's very, very dangerous. Is you wrap it in a towel, you turn it on for 15 minutes, so it overheats. Then you turn it off. You take the towel off. You let it cool down for half an hour. You turn it on. It worked. It actually worked. And I guess what it's ridiculously dangerous, and I've probably invalidated my warranty, and I'm sure it's only a temporary fix, and, a month down the line, if I'm lucky, it'll die again. But it heats it up, melts something, and makes it work.
That's awesome.
Sounds like probably the most irresponsible thing to do with an Xbox ever.
Listen, people listening, do not do this, and if make sure you're there. But I just thought, what the hell? But it worked. But yes, the Red Ring of Death. First time I've had it, and it did make the PS3 look quite sexy again. That's what we're talking about. And Wipeout HD is another reason. I'm a big fan of Wipeout. It's what got me back into gaming after missing out on the whole kind of SNES generation and all of that. First time around, I saw Wipeout on my friend's Sega Saturn, and it was like, wow. Games can do that. Now, you've seen Wipeout HD.
It's beautiful.
Is it good?
It's really beautiful. It's plays at 1080 at 60 frames a second. Looks fantastic, and it's everything you want from a Wipeout game. It's really good. It's really small. It's it's a download. It's about £12. I think you get 8 tracks, 8 courses, so not a huge amount. But then it's always been about, of late, it's been about the downloads.
You don't
so
get that
you'll
many.
Get more.
You get about 8 courses on the first Wipeout, I think, don't you? There's not.
That's about
And then on the
Not many
PSP one,
more.
yeah. But I think they're going to go big with downloads and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
So will you
it's
be able to
awesome.
get more content for it?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Sure you will.
I'm there.
And very quickly, I'm a FIFA man. FIFA 2009. The thing is, I've only just got FIFA 2008 on exchange in a shop, so I don't. and I've not really played much of it, so I don't really know if I should be shelling out.
We've got someone doing a review for us, but we haven't played it yet, have we?
No.
Are you
but,
football fans? Football fan? I
Nick
don't like
is.
football in real life, but on the games I do. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you a FIFA or are you an ISS Pro?
I have always sort of wavered between them, but I was Pro Evo for quite a long
Pro Evo,
time.
sorry, yes, that's what I thought,
until last year. Last year's Pro Evo I actually took back to the shop.
Wow. Okay.
And when I got FIFA instead.
What was lacking in it that had been there?
Do you know, I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but it was just, with a football game, it's just a sense you get of its playability.
Yeah.
And Pro Evo has always had that over every single FIFA, despite the lack of licenses and players. Right. And last year it didn't. It didn't feel like it had that spark.
You get real snobs around these games, and you mentioned. I do sometimes hesitate to mention I'm a FIFA person because the real hardcore football. You play that rubbish. What do you like? Just scoring goals in the first 5 seconds? Well, do you know what? Yeah, I do actually. I quite enjoy that. I quite enjoy being able to, if you're having a good run, just being able to run up there and sneak a goal in. You can't do it all the time, but the ISS Pro Evo, it just. It didn't do it for me. I thought it was trying to be too much up its own backside. And apparently, as they've progressed, they're kind of more and more similar as they go on. They keep nicking little bits. They'd never say that,
Definitely,
but they keep borrowing bits from each other's games and moving on. So I don't know, FIFA 2009. Hey, listen, very quickly, we should talk about this the new DS that has been announced. Now, when I was researching this, it was still rumours. I love those rumour websites. Aren't they brilliant? There's always good rumours about, in Apple, they say we're going to have a big announcement next Tuesday, and there's always these rumour websites where it's a new iPhone that's actually made of paper, and it's all this. And there's been lots of rumours about the DS. Now, it's been announced officially, hasn't it?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay,
Yes.
well, I'm going to... This is what I was reading on... I've not
Right.
heard the official
Let's see how it
announcement.
matches
Let's see. Has it got 2 touch screens?
No.
Oh, it hasn't?
One touchscreen still.
That was one of the big rumours. Although what you would do with 2 touch screens...
One
I
with
don't-
each hand, or...
Yeah, what do
I
you
don't
hold
know.
it with then?
You're making it rude again, Nick. aren't you? Has it got an MP3 player?
It's got a SD card slot,
Okay.
so yeah, it's got memory and it's got improved audio, so yeah, you could use it as an MP3
Okay.
player.
It hasn't got a camera built into it.
It has.
Yeah,
2
oh.
cameras.
Well, hang on. Whoa.
Well, like on a mobile phone, you've got the kind of forward-facing camera,
Yeah.
and then the lower resolution camera for video calls.
So
so one
you can
for
do
stills.
video on it.
I'm not. It's not entirely clear, but I
You
would
say it now,
suspect.
it becomes
I
a
suspect
fact.
It's something like that.
So it's got 2 cameras on it.
2 cameras. One's 3 megapixel. The other one is much lower resolution.
Oh, that's actually quite sexy.
I think so.
But it's not coming out here for forever, is it?
Not till spring. And in Japan, they get it like next month or something.
Damn those Japanese! They did invent it. Well, this would make me think. I've got both the PSP and DS. I use the DS more. I think. I don't think I use the PSP for watching videos. I have a whole series of The Wire on there. On a memory card, I've got a big bulky memory card, and when I go on flights and stuff like that, I'll take that and watch The Wire or stuff like that. But I very rarely play games on it, and I tend to play games more on the DS. And I think the DS is. I remember when the DS kind of came out and there was the PSP, and everyone kind of laughed at the DS a bit and went, "It looks silly. It looks silly. The PSP looks cool." But do we know anything about the figures? Who's winning the war?
Nintendo DS by miles.
Really?
They've sold like 77 million units
Wow.
around the world. So
Wow, I
it's
didn't
like
realise
basically
it was-
the best-selling console in the world.
Are you a fan of the handhelds, Nick?
Yeah, but I've only got a PSP. Last Nintendo I had was Game Boy Advance, and I've never had a DS. So, but I am really tempted because, like you say, the games are like sort of a lot more of a tempting proposition.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
And then Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars comes out, December?
Yeah, that's
so
true. Yeah, I'd like to check that out. But then I like the idea of the more quirky games on the DS
That's
as
true.
well. You know, like
Yeah.
the sort of oddball stuff that comes out for it. Apart from, actually, I was going to bring this up to ask you
Yes.
because I know you've got a bit of a thing about cooking games.
Oh, Dave, what's the point of that?
Have you seen the
Nonsense.
ones that are coming out on the DS?
No, go on.
They've got one called Hell's Kitchen, and it's Gordon Ramsay. You're on Hell's Kitchen, and you have to cook something
Yeah.
in this game, while Gordon Ramsay runs around and shouts at you.
Now it's Nintendo. He's not going to be effing and blinding, is he? That's his trademark. Is
Yeah,
is
well,
he?
I'm not sure about that, but yeah.
I'd be very surprised if Nintendo let a game out with swear words. I know they're relaxing their rules slightly on content, obviously with Grand Theft Auto coming out on there. But
But yeah, so he's on. Jamie Oliver's also jumping on the bandwagon with Jamie Oliver's recipes or something, where you get 100 recipes to take to the supermarket, and Jamie Oliver tells you what to cook.
But what you do is you look up at things in a recipe book. I'm quite traditional on this. You look at a recipe book, you write down the ingredients on a bit of paper, you take that to the supermarket. Does anybody? I would be. I mean, I wrote one of the columns was one of these cooking games. Does anybody actually use them for recipes? I know Nintendo are trying to push the DS as, to change the way you look at gaming, change the way it's more immersive than actually just for games. But does anybody sit in the kitchen with a DS booted up and cook beef bourguignon, following the instructions on that? Does anyone?
I tried. I did try.
You did not, Jane.
I did. The voice recognition was not hot, actually. It was
That's
not
when you
great.
go,
You
turn.
got turn or next or something.
Turn
And
the
it
page.
was like, no, sorry. I don't understand. What? And you're like, next, please.
The DS was on Watchdog. Did you ever see that?
Yeah,
because of the poor voice recognition.
regional accents, it couldn't handle regional
Couldn't do it.
accents
and it
at all.
and some women as well. It had
Really?
trouble, and so
Oh,
there were these
right.
women, and they had to talk like that, and it would reach it. Or if you put on a slightly offensive Japanese accent or an American accent, it would read it better than like a Liverpool or a Newcastle
way.
accent. It couldn't. And so that Nikki Campbell did a whole report on, and you had these people that were really disappointed because they were doing Miss Dr. Kawaguchiko's Brain
Training
Academy or
thing,
whatever.
yeah.
It is. Again, I've never seen the appeal of those. You see these. I saw someone on the train this very morning, in fact, with it on the side doing the maths, and no. Read a book.
1 week wonder, I think, that sort of thing.
But
Bit like Sudoku.
sold millions of copies. You know, they brought out a whole series of those
Yeah.
brain training
Yeah.
session things.
I think it's, I don't know, kind of grown-up players like it, right? I think it's a...
Yeah.
Well,
My mum bought a DS
Alright.
just for that game.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, the fact that that's encouraged her to buy a DS, that actually makes it kind of quite good. But still, I wouldn't get a Grand Theft Auto for Christmas, isn't it?
That's true, yeah.
Get her some of
She'll
that.
love that.
Should we have a look at the forum? At
Yeah.
what's they've. The forum's been quite friendly recently.
There's been a lot of forum love, except for this one guy.
Oh, I know you're talking about T-Sky Blue.
Well, he started out with a response to your column on what to do with old video games.
Oh yeah, I
You were
wrote
giving
a
advice.
friendly column about a dilemma I'd faced. Do you take them in and trade them, or do you sell them on the eBay?
So-
the abuse I get. Here we go.
T-Sky Blue. Just do the opposite of what Ian Lee says.
Yeah.
Actually, you can apply this rule to any advice this idiot has ever given anyone. I don't know if you know
He doesn't
him.
say
Is he
ever
a friend?
He doesn't say. Well done, you've corrected his English. He actually
I did
says.
correct his English.
Apply this rule to any advice this idiot has ever gave anyone. So instantly he's. But he got. Yeah. I read that. I thought I wrote quite a nice friendly column this month. This is going to look in the forum, see what people are saying, and I'm getting abuse just for talking about that.
But in fairness, a lot of people came out in your defence, so there was a lot of nice things said. You know.
Yeah, go read one, Jan.
all right,
Let's hear what we're right about. You've highlighted them. Let's read a nice one, please.
Fatbot says,
Fatbot.
"Ooh, you have discovered irony. Well done. Though in your case, I fear Wikipedia was to blame." And that was a response to another comment of his,
Yes.
in which I don't know.
He told me off for not writing a controversial column.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was one of the points I think he raised the second time around. Where is it here? Let me read this. This is nice. So now you are giving me advice on how to structure a sentence. You really are a pathetic little man, Mr. Lee. Can I also congratulate you on choosing such a hot topic for a message board? It's like, well, it doesn't have to be. I'll write a controversial one
Oh,
for next
dear.
week. I'll write something.
Yeah, now you've done it.
And everyone's been very friendly about the podcast. haven't they? The
Yeah,
Gamecast.
yeah.
They've
Let's all right,
said
let's look at the podcast.
quite nice, friendly things about last month's episode, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people recommending underrated games because that's what we were talking
that's what
about.
let's have a couple of those.
So, Killerdath says, "Hey, I think all Dreamcast games were really good, especially Sword of the Berserker."
Don't remember Sword of
Don't
the
remember that
Berserker,
one.
but I will agree that there were a lot of good games on the Dreamcast, including Choo Choo Rocket,
That was good.
which they've not brought out. I think they brought out something similar for the PSP or
There was something on the PSP.
that was
very similar.
very similar. Choo Choo Rocket, brilliant. But I think that was the first home console online game you could play.
Yeah, it was,
in the
wasn't
old
it?
days
Yeah.
of 56k dial-up. And it was brilliant. What innovation to be able on your TV at home to link up with other people and play this mad, mental Japanese game. But it was excellent.
Level Boss Gamertag says, Ian was right about Bishi Bashi special for the PS1.
Thank you very much.
It was a crazy Japanese minigame. The best game involved a pie-throwing bride. Don't remember that.
Fantastic.
Unnamed 7 says, yo, not sure about underrated but overlooked, Eternal Darkness on the GameCube. Anyone? Eternal Darkness on the GameCube?
I don't remember. I remember it on the N64. I don't remember it coming out on the GameCube.
He says it was a ton scarier than any Resi Evil game.
Okay.
I'd like to claim. And Star Wars Racer engulfed an entire summer for me. Glad I wasn't the only one who loved it, because you mentioned
I
that,
mentioned that.
didn't you?
Yes. That was a fantastic game.
Okay. Game Girl Goodie for anyone who's interested. Bishy Bashy is available on the PSN store apparently, and it's still awesome.
There we go.
You can get it on the PS3 now.
Okay, well, listen. I was thinking maybe next month, or we can talk about the stuff that's coming up and stuff like that. But also, can we find the definitive top 3 and worst 3 game characters of all time? Because you know Sonic the Hedgehog. I think he's a bit overrated.
Ooh.
I think he's a little bit overrated. So maybe we'll have a look at that next
Sure.
month and see see if we can come up with the top 3 and the worst 3. And again, people on what's the forum address if they wish to come and contribute to this?
Well, apart from your suggestions for best and worst games characters, we'd like to hear what you're looking forward to. You know, all the stuff coming up in October and November. So just come to tech.uk.msn.com and join us on the message boards, or click through to the podcast and tell us what you think.
Yeah, if we've missed something as well that's coming out, although you've done excellent research.
There's more stuff. Actually, there is more stuff.
Yeah, if
but,
there's,
we can't do everything.
maybe there's a small little thing sneaking out that we've not heard about, then let us know and point us in the right direction.
Definitely.
All right, brilliant. Nick, thank you very much. Jane, thank you.
Thank you.
And I will see you soon.
Gamecast from MSN.